As we begin this week's D&D session, we see a blue light shine on the face of a heavily armored tiefling who is alone in a stone chamber. Exhaustion is heavy on his face as something out in front of him has taken his attention. The blast door just behind him is sealed, but for a few large slashes that allow the sound of a faint scream to come through from the connected hallway. He turns, assessing this sound, but ultimately continues examining the contents of interest in the room. Some time goes by. In this spherical opening carved out of the gray bedrock only found on Zokril Prime, a closer look at the tiefling's torso shows a glimpse of a glyph carved into the flesh just under his gray plate armor. His hand hovers over it ever so slightly as a green mist pours out. More time passes, and the crimson face develops an expression of confusion. Whatever he is looking at has stumped him for the time being. In congruence, he begins to pull out some sort of black communications device. This is when the sound of a large metal bridge expanding and clanking into place pulls his mind out of the thought process. He shifts on the spot to face the door and calmly walks towards his exit. As it opens, he is met with quite a treacherous sight. 3 of his highly trained soldiers have been thwarted in the long, rocky hallway before him, their bodies laid out on the metal gangway. Farther down the corridor, at the tail end of the before-mentioned bridge, a ragtag team consisting of 2 humans, an orc, a black tabaxi, and a turtle are sprinting in his direction. The tiefling squints his eyes, appearing confused once again, but a closer look at his face would give away his slightly intrigued smirk. He watches for a moment from afar before moving forward quickly and blocking the party's exit to the elevator. As he does so, he exclaims, "It appears you have bested my men. Impressive. The other researchers did not fare so well. What would you guys like to do?"
Isn't Andrew standing right in front of him, high-fiving him?
Because last session ended so abruptly, we're just going to retcon to right before he ran next to the door and then start from there. Because you also said you shot him, and I assume you don't want to immediately do that.
Before we start talking to him, I just want to as players amongst ourselves, how much health do each of us have left? Are we fit enough to go into this combat?
I mean, I have enough.
I have full health, but I have 0 health spells.
What is full health for you, Nate?
19.
Okay, I have 8 health.
Yeah, you're the only one below half. I think Andrew's at half, and Reinhardt is missing 1 HP. But he only has 13 max, so you guys aren't great. You have just come from another combat, so keep that in mind.
All right, what was the last thing the tiefling said?
He said he was impressed by you surviving this long, basically.
Impressed enough to get on that elevator and fuck off?
You would like me to get on the elevator?
Yeah. Just impressed enough to get you to just leave and forget anything happened here?
Sure. You can roll a persuasion.
Nat 20, boys. Nat 20.
Oh my god!
I didn't actually get one. I got a 3. That's like 5.
Baited.
Okay.
So I got a
Baited.
7.
Made by your own teammate.
No, I was saying let's get on that 20, boys. As I was like, it doesn't really work on my end when I'm shaking the dice and none of you can see me.
He looks at you. He sort of squints his eyes. Again, looking confused at the situation. All of you give me insight, actually. Give me insight checks of this tiefling.
Is there a chance I could use perception instead?
No. Because insight is the specific stat to reading people.
I'm going to ask every time because my insight and investigation are shit.
That's fair.
I got a 9.
9. All right.
I got a 3.
3, okay.
I got a 21.
Damn.
21. I think 10 was Andrew saying what his health was. Most of you... Okay, another 10. Perfect. The 3 of you don't really notice anything in particular about this tiefling. He just seems sort of... enjoyment in the confusion of the scenario because it is a very strange group of people in front of him. Reinhardt, as you look closer, you know, while he's addressing the party, he is spending every moment staring at the thing over the shoulder of Erebus, and he is just trying to figure out what he's looking at. He says, "Well, other than your female companion, you are not dressed like simple researchers. I was originally thinking perhaps ring intelligence, however, the turtle's appearance suggests you come from the fleet, which would explain how you opened the capsule. Maybe the Sisterhood sent you to steal my prize."
The turtle did nothing with it. He was messing with the bridge. He had nothing to do with this.
Ah, I see.
Try to throw him off. Don't think it worked.
Well, you did do what I could not. You have achieved this. And he looks... Now you can all tell he's looking at the creature. This cretin. Finders keepers and all that. I doubt anything I could offer you would be enough to replace the value of what you hold in your hands, Tabaxi.
Did you say cretin? What the fuck's a cretin? Do you mean cretin? Like
Cretin, like little... It's like an offensive term for like a stupid person, basically.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you believe you have nothing of value to offer us, you may get back in your ship, fly back to your vessel, and leave and tell the changelings you failed.
So, you do know quite a bit. Interesting. Though, I do have a question. Are you prepared for what comes next if I do leave this place without that thing in my possession?
I assume it
Yes.
involves our imminent death.
Shh.
He,
Yes.
He nods. He nods towards the orc and says, "Yes."
I look disapprovingly for being shushed when I speak the truth.
But we don't want to let him know what we...
The text box comes up that says Devon will remember that after you shush him.
It's not like I'm like shushing him. I'm like trying to gesture to him like, don't reveal more information than we need to in that situation.
Yeah. So as Devon speaks, the tiefling nods and chuckles a bit. Yes. Things bigger than all of us have been put in motion, my orc friend.
I mean, maybe you can actually change something in this fucking miserable universe that we have.
Well, change is relative. Things change all the time. But when you're a pawn in a game you can't comprehend, it becomes a bit more difficult. I mean, do you really know the scale of what that creature could affect?
I just wonder, could I do like some sort of check to see if I could figure out, just like from my spy work, if I could in the underworld see if I like picked up how much the revelation that this Dragonborn, which I don't know is a Dragonborn's existence, and his revelation to the galaxy would change the powers at be in the galaxy.
Before you even roll, you don't really. It must be things far bigger than your whatever you've worked on. But of course, I cannot force you to do anything. I am not too stubborn to act out of arrogance. I could kill all of you, yes, it would be quite easy, or perhaps there's a chance you rally and strike me down. I do not have time for that. We all have places to be, of course.
Yes, I concur. I think living life is the ultimate goal, so this is not worth dying over.
And you all have impressed me greatly. I mean, the other researchers, they had to go. They knew too much. It is true, but what do you really know? Even if you've cracked some code, I mean, try getting off the planet, see what happens. You've seen the ship above you.
Have we?
He just chuckles.
Yes, Andrew. I assume you know your nose.
He doesn't even seem to be acknowledging the turtle at this point as he blabbers about insane shit in the corner.
Yes, getting off this planet, I'm sure, will be an endeavor, one we will strive to surprise you yet again on.
Of course. And I look forward to it. I look forward to seeing what you all do. But consider this, heroes. And he sort of says that with quite a bit of sarcasm. This will not go how you expect. If you do not give me the thing here and now, you may be responsible for damning the entire galaxy. So, once again, make your final choice.
I gesture everyone to huddle up in a football huddle so we can discuss.
Yeah, he sees you do that and he's like, yes, have your plans, of course.
So, I say we don't hand a child over to someone who intentionally invaded a scientific base that had little to no defenses and murdered everyone.
Probably plans to murder it too.
There's part of me that's a little worried that even if we give him the child, he's going to kill us anyway because they already are covering up everyone else there's death. Or they're killing everyone there to cover it up. So
I don't know how much.
There's no reason he wouldn't, after what he gets what he wants, to be like, oh yeah, let's keep these people alive. No, we'd instantly be like, world's most wanted and fucking assassinated.
I don't could I do some sort of check to see how truthful the tiefling was being with his desire not to kill us, him, not who he works for, not the ship in the sky, but if we hand it over or if we don't hand it over, is he gonna kill us no matter what, or will he respect whatever our choice is and let us leave?
Yeah, give me another insight check. As you sort of peer over from this group huddle and...
Not one.
Yeah. I mean, he clearly... His intentions are very... You're very unsure of what exactly he's after.
I turn to... I'm not so sure if he would kill us no matter what we do, but definitely his fleet... not a fleet, but his ship in space and the people he works for will not let us leave this planet alive. No matter what we do.
Certainly agree with that.
As you guys continue having this sort of huddle, you hear some sort of beeping noise come from the tiefling. And as you sort of look over to see what it is, you see him pull out this communications device again. And then you hear the sound of just a voice on the other side that says, "Typhoon, sir. We've secured the target on board the Trailblazer." Good, Sergeant. What of the other squad?" And the voice says, "They have eliminated the remaining survivors in the Hangar Bay and are headed back now. Do you have any other orders, sir?" And he says, "No, that's all right, Sergeant. The third-floor labs are all clear. The remaining researchers have been dealt with. We will speak when I see you next." And then it's just like, "Sir, yes, sir. Over and out." And he puts the communication device away and he says, "Well, brave heroes, I no longer have a need to distract you. Thus, our meeting comes to an end. I will be watching you all very closely." And you can see this glyph that he has under his armor is now just pulsing with this green mist, and he begins stuffing his two of his fingers inside of it and starts spreading it. What are you guys doing?
I'm securing my mask and my suit, which I still have on because I never took it off. Boom.
Okay, you're just making sure that it doesn't fall off and whatever's about to happen.
Could I do could I do a medicine roll to make sure that my suit is fine?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to take the child I'm holding and gesture to the one researcher who is with us and dash into one of the laboratories that I assume we can seal to be airtight, so whatever this is will not get in there.
Okay.
Because we have two people who don't have suits with us, so I'm trying to protect them.
The only person that doesn't have a suit currently is the Dragonborn. Anastasia has one, just in case, so she can actually exit the lab.
Alright.
So, which area are you running into? There's two labs on this floor, and then there's the mining area that you met.
The labs can be sealed airtight, right?
Yes.
Then I'm going to dash into the lab that looks the clearest of the knockout gas that's been spreading. Because that vent's still open.
Basically the closest lab to you, basically.
Yeah.
Alright.
And
you run into the first lab.
And just to let you know, since I can move I think I can move in like one turn, which would be like 6 seconds, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can move 90 feet. So
Okay, so you sprint with the Dragonborn and you get Anastasia to safety. What are the rest of you doing? Cock is rotating so quickly now that he's denting the floor. Okay, he's just spinning on his shell right now.
If it doesn't look like anyone else is going to join us in the lab, I'm going to seal the door so we don't get
I want to join.
All right, so Devon and Erebus and Anastasia are running in. Erebus carrying the Dragonborn. Reinhardt, you're still in the hallway. You're holding this glowing blue egg. These sort of eerie orange tendrils are like sort of slightly connected to the Dragonborn now, but they're sort of fading. What do you want to do? Oh, Cock has now zooted into his shell.
Well, seeing that the egg and the Dragonborn are slightly connected, I'm gonna follow Erebus.
All right, so basically, 3 of you plus Anastasia run into a lab, seal the door. Cock just immediately goes into his shell. Okay, so out of the head hole, you can see as the other 3 run into this room, seal the door. There's a tiny little window, but because of the gas that Devon had spread out earlier, it's too misty to see what's about to happen. But Cock, you can see through this head hole of your shell. The tiefling is like ripping this glyph open. There's like a slight cut in it that he's just tearing open. But as he's doing that, there's like a tear in his chest. But you don't see into his body. You see into the other side of the hallway. It's almost like as he tears this glyph, he's like ripping himself out of existence. And then as he finally screams, "Ah!" He just, there's like this pulse of energy of green mist, and then he just disappears. The hallway is empty. You guys, you hear the scream, and then it stops, and no explosion, no fight, nothing, as you sit in the lab. The lab you're in, actually, now that you can see it, you see 3 dead bodies of researchers that are sprawled out throughout the room. They are brutally murdered. This lab has 3 tables, each with different tools used to investigate materials. One table looks like it's investigating some sort of goop. Another is looking at like a single orange crystal. Now you can probably reason that it's a scale. And another has some sort of rock on it that looks similar to the blue egg. That it's a smaller, more circular object, but it looks similar to the egg that Reinhardt carries.
I pick up the scale and the smaller version of what Reinhardt's carrying and like pocket them.
Okay, yeah, you just put them in your backpack. So you can just put orange scale and blue rock in your inventory. But yeah, nothing else happens.
I guess I head out and I gather everyone together if they would wish to join me.
Anastasia at this point is like, we have to get out of here. I don't know what this guy is planning, but none of that sounded good. Why wouldn't he want the artifact?
He was awfully... obviously, the artifact seems to have been a secondary objective, and the primary objective was completed without him somewhere else in the facility.
So yeah, what would you guys like to do? You are now seemingly alone on this 3rd floor. The group of you. Anastasia's with you. You have the Dragonborn who's still very much knocked out, and you have this glowing, about 3 feet long egg.
Alright, there's 3 things. They claim they've killed everyone at the shuttle, or at the Hangar Bay. We don't know for sure if they got everyone. Perhaps our scientist friends went up there, survived. Perhaps there's some people on like the last breath who we might be able to help. So we might want to get up there quickly. We could search the other half of these tunnels to see if anyone survived down there. Or we could look in the secondary lab to see if there's anything we need in there. Or we can just get to the ship and leave.
I think we should just try and get the fuck out of here as fast as possible. This place sucks. This place has been hell ever since we've been here.
Another thing that you guys are sort of realizing now is that when you guys woke up, it was like the middle of the night, and you didn't really you probably got like 2 or 3 hours of actual sleep. But when the initial attack happened, you were just like running off this immense adrenaline. Now, as things are sort of calming down a bit, you're starting to feel the tiredness hit you. But obviously there's still more to do, so.
All right. I pass the Dragonborn off to Devon. Do you accept?
Hoist him like over my shoulder. Just kind of.
All right. The four of you get to the ship, start prepping for takeoff as quietly and silently as you can. Search for any survivors. If I'm not there in 10 minutes, leave without me. I will check the secondary lab and see if I can quickly see if there's any other survivors in the other half of the third floor.
You're taking a risk, man. Are you sure?
I can
It's
move
always
pretty
strength
fast.
in numbers.
I will be doing like stealth throughout all of it, so I think bringing other people would like disrupt my stealth and make it more likely I get caught.
Reinhardt's pretty stealthy if you two want to go. I mean, you two were the special ops characters of the ship together, so.
I mean, I could give the egg to Cock,
I look at Cock just spinning in a circle.
turning a circle in his shell.
Man's vibing right now. Oh,
Okay, Andrew said his arms pop out of his shell. So we
Alright,
hand
cool.
the rock to Cock, and me and Reinhardt
perfect.
will search this floor for any survivors and the secondary lab for any pertinent information as quickly as possible. We'll meet up with everyone else.
Okay, so just confirm, because so Devon, Cock, Anastasia, and the Dragonborn are headed to the Hangar Bay, and Reinhardt and Erebus are headed to the secondary lab. And also, do you want to look at the area that the Tiefling came from, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Probably won't do like a full search, but like open the
Just
door.
a quick stealth around.
See if Leon, the like commander, is like, because he was down here
Right.
somewhere. We haven't found his body yet,
Right.
so he could still be alive
Okay.
or in his dying throes. So I want to see if we can like find him or any other survivors down here before we leave.
All right, so you guys split off. The three of Devon, Anastasia, and Cock, plus the Dragonborn on Devon's shoulder, head back towards the elevator, load up, and start heading back up towards the hangar bay. The other two of you, and you said you want to do it stealthily, so where are you headed first? Do you want to go to the lab, which would
Yeah,
would
because
actually
we know
be-
it's clear. We know it's
Yeah.
clear. We don't have to stealth there, so we'll do that quickly, and then we'll rush to the other blast door. Then we'll go into stealth, open the blast door, see if we can like see anything within like the first 20 feet, and then dash back to the elevator.
Okay, you head over to the lab, to lab 2. This one actually requires the scan of your key card, so you do that. It opens up. You walk inside.
Picking up that key card was clutch.
The smoke is like cleared enough now inside the room to where you can see there are 3 glass cases. Each of them have a pedestal inside that holds some sort of item. On the left side of the room, away from the glass cases, is like a panel, like a console. And then above the glass cases, above each one, you see like a light, like a symbol that looks like it could light up, but it's not lit.
I rush over the panel and try to light up the symbols so I can see.
Yeah, so the console has a few buttons on it, but there's one big white one in the middle that's sort of surrounded by the other buttons.
White one, press it.
Alright, you slam your hand down on the white one. So there's like a 10-second countdown where nothing happens, and then a symbol above the sort of things in the glass cases lights on. The door behind you, like the lab door, shuts, and the 3 glass panels open up.
What are the 3 items?
Yes, okay, you see on the first sort of most right-hand side pedestal, you see sort of a red cloak / cape, bit feathered, but like with like this sort of gold armor piece at the top that connects to the shoulders. In the middle pedestal, you actually realize there's a strange item, because there's like this red steel rod, but what you thought was like extended by a rope, actually now that the glass case opens up, you realize that the rod is just floating by itself. And then on the third pedestal is a golden gauntlet with 3 red gems on the knuckles.
The Infinity Gauntlet. Are these the size of the child we?
No, they're like the size of like a grown-up, basically. Probably a bit bigger, actually.
Is there any info on the panel about where they found them?
On the console?
Like in the room, is there any info on these artifacts and like where they found them? Where they?
Each pedestal has like a plaque of information on it, but it's written. What languages do you guys know?
Comus, Elvish, and Thieves' Cant.
I'm in Dwarvish, Elvish.
Yeah, you don't. None of you recognize the language.
All right, then I'm gonna do like. I assume I have like a notebook or like a camera phone on me.
Do you?
Well, okay. Let's see.
I mean, you might have like a piece of paper and like a quill or something that we could say is a pen.
Do you, Jacob, have something we could like write down what is said on these plaques?
No.
All right, then I'm gonna pull out my crowbar and fucking steal the plaques.
I could have done that too. Actually, I'll do that too. He'll take one. He'll take 2. I'll take 1.
Okay, so you're both gonna pull out your crowbars and start ripping off the sort of yeah, okay. You rip off each plaque. They're not that hard to rip off, so I'll just say you do it. So you have 3 plaques of strange language in your.
Take the items as well.
You want to take the items?
Yeah,
What do you
we're
think?
gonna take the items too.
All right, who's taking what?
I'll take the 3 plaques.
Alright, I guess I have to. I guess I'll take the 3 items. Yeah.
Okay, so you pick up the cloak. Just write red cloak in your inventory. Pick up the golden gauntlet. You can just write golden gauntlet. As you go to grab the sort of metal rod, you like grab it, you try to pull it, it doesn't move.
Try putting the gauntlet on and then grabbing the staff rod.
Alright.
All right, you equip the gauntlet. So put it on. It's a bit big for you. So it's like a baseball glove basically for you. You grab the gauntlet or you grab the rod, pull it, doesn't move.
Right, try putting the cloak on too.
Okay, I'll do that too.
Well, I mean, what else do we got to work with?
All right, you put the cloak on. Again, you don't really feel anything. This is like a big cloak for you. You grab the rod, you pull it, it doesn't move. Yeah.
Could I try grabbing it?
Yeah, you walk up to the rod, this red steel, there's like slight carvings in it. You grab it, you pull it, you're like putting your feet up on the pedestal trying to pull it, it's just not moving.
What can I read the runes on the staff, or is that the same language as the pedestals?
It doesn't seem like a language, it just seems like some sort of carving. And it's not like a staff, it's like a 2-foot long rod of steel.
Can we both do Arcana checks to see if we understand what this thing is?
Sure. Neither of you are magic users, but you can give it a go if you roll high enough.
I got a 2.
Okay, 2.
I rolled a natural 1.
Alright, you guys are just dumbfounded by this sort of... it's like a rod that just won't move.
I walk over to the panel, because they had to put it here somehow.
Yeah.
So I walk over to the panel and I don't want to split the party further, but I'm wondering if one of us should spend like 5 minutes here trying to figure out the panel and see if there's some way we can move it, while the other one goes and checks the rest of the facility. Reinhardt, should one of us stay here, try to figure out how to move the rod, while the other goes and checks for survivors? Or should we spend like 30 minutes trying to figure out if we can move this rod, give up on it, and go check for survivors?
I believe we should stay together.
Okay. Then could I do a sleight of hand, because that's what I've been using to figure out the rest of the electrical panels in this facility. Do a sleight of hand check on the panel to see if any of these buttons would somehow activate a field that will allow me to move. Do like sleight of hand on the panel to see if that will allow me to move, or do like perception on the room to see if there's something in the room that they used to move the rod in the first place.
Yeah, you can do perception.
Ooh, can I do a history check to see if I know what the language is?
Yeah, actually.
Alright, let me roll.
That would be a 23 perception.
23. Let me see what he gets for history.
18.
Okay. 23 perception. As you're like looking at this panel, you're looking around the room, you're like studying the sort of symbols above the above these glass cases. And as you like walk around, so you're like behind the glass case now, you notice on the other side of the rod, there's like this small, you understand why you didn't notice this small little button on it.
I push the button.
Push the button, the rod falls into your hand.
Nice.
As that happens, Reinhardt, you are... I assume you ask Erebus to borrow one of the plaques to study it.
Yeah. I hand it over.
Yeah. You're staring at the one for the Gauntlet. The only reason you recognize it is because it's similar to some of the sort of markings you saw in the books in Dr. Banks's office, talking about old things, mythological things, old creatures, items, races, that sort of stuff. Things you haven't heard about before. All right, do you guys want to continue in this room or head back out?
With my 23 perception, would I have noticed anything else of interest in this room?
No, honestly, it looks pretty clean. Like, when the invaders came in here, it doesn't seem like they messed with much.
I turn to Reinhardt. Do you want to hold on to the rod, or should I just carry it for now so we can keep moving?
Maybe we should hold on to it for now.
Alright, I take the plaque back so we don't have to like divide the plaques up any further in our
Okay.
actual inventory. Put that away, I hold on to the rod, and we sprint towards the other blast door, get it open, go into stealth, and...
As you walk up to the door to exit the lab, it does not open.
Press the white button again.
Press the white button again. The case is closed. The door does not open. The 10 seconds goes by. It doesn't change.
Is there a keypad? Is there like a access card on this side that would let us force the door to be open?
No. And as that happens, we're going to go over to the other group as you guys stew on that situation. So, the 3-man group of Devon, Anastasia, and Cock exit to go down. You head into the elevator. Door closes. You press the button for the sort of docking bay. And the elevator goes up a floor. And the elevator opens up. And you see a welcome center. You recognize from the one that you saw when you came into this facility originally. It has a nice orange carpet and 6 seats arranged around for when people are waiting for things like getting their access cards verified. That's in the middle of the room. On the left, there is a welcome desk with a terminal and a keyboard that a receptionist would use. On the right, there's a little alcove where barrels and crates of various supplies are stored. As you step out of the elevator, you are immediately introduced to the smell of death in the air.
Alright, we just gotta keep pushing through it. We know what this is at this point.
Okay, and you're just going, right? You're not like gonna try to stealth or anything?
Andrew sniffs.
No, we may as well try and stealth.
Okay.
No.
Yep, give me stealth
harm.
checks. I'll roll one for Anastasia.
That is a 19.
Anastasia got a 15. So, you guys sort of stealthy sprint through the Welcome Center area and head towards... It's sort of like further down the room from where you came in from the elevator is a hallway that turns left into the docking bay. As you guys do that, you hear someone sort of, not shout, but whisper shout out, "Psst, psst, hey, over here!" Coming back from in the welcome area. Anastasia stops, looks around. Is there someone here? What would you guys like to do?
Perception check.
All right, perception.
That's a natural 20. Let's go.
Oh, shit. So yeah, Devon, as you turn around to sort of assess what you just heard, immediately you clock this sort of large, probably 6'5" elephant woman hiding behind a bunch of barrels in the corner, in the right side corner of the alcove, and she's just like waving at you, like trying to get your attention. Anastasia's like, "Hello, is someone here? Any survivors? We're trying to get out of here." And the Loxodon now, wearing these red robes of the anomaly, pushes her way out from behind the barrels and sort of runs over to you. Now, Cock, you can see her. This is Drigi, your Loxodon bodyguard. She's like, "Oh my god, it was a fucking massacre. I've been hiding behind those barrels for like 2 hours." And Anastasia's like, "Oh, well, come with us. We're gonna get on the ship and get out of here."
Yes.
She looks
It
at
will always be good with strength and numbers.
the elephant woman looks at the turtle, says, "My lord, I'm sorry, my ambassador. We came down here. We were asked by the commander to escort some of the remaining researchers to the shuttle, and when we came down here, we were attacked by a group of those things, and I hid. Balaka, the stubborn one, decided no, he was going to run off and bring the researcher to the ship, and he was chased down, and I heard combat, but I haven't heard anything for a long time. Bless Balaka, because he is a great warrior, but he does not know when the time is to fight and when the time is to hide."
Really great having an Andrew-centric conversation.
Yeah. Man's driving home from fucking New Mexico. So Andrew says, he extends his severed arm and says, "At least you're safe. Hopefully we can find him too." She nods and says, "I fear the worst, but I hope you're right."
His severed arm is like from one of our enemies. It's not like his arm that got cut off, right?
It was not even from the enemies. It was, I believe, from one of the researchers. Like, he ripped their arm off. I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't actually from one of the bad guys. So yeah, you guys continue on into the docking bay. Again, very, very messed up sight. Bodies strewn all around, torn apart, like literally like intestines ripped out, heads chopped off. It's just absolutely brutal, but you guys are focused on finding your ship and getting out of here. Andrew searches for more arms. You go over to one of the bodies, Cock, actually, and you begin to get down on your knees and begin to, you prepare yourself to pick up one of these arms, and as you do, you recognize the carved up and beaten to a bloody pulp body of the friend you once knew as Lannis, the pool-playing elf. You could recognize him only because of the white vest that he wears with the pencils in the pocket on the chest, because otherwise there is no recognizable body part on him, as he has just been absolutely brutally murdered.
Quickly, revivify.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so that's what you see. The rest of you searching around, or I should say the rest of you, Devon, Anastasia walks up to you and is like, "Okay, which one's your ship?" And as you're looking around, Devon, give me a investigation roll.
Could I have advantage on this since I got a natural 20 for the perception check?
Well, you're in a new room now. I'll give you advantage because it's your ship. You would know what it looks like.
We don't want to repeat of...
Yeah, the fucking basement from Star Wars D&D. Oh, God. That was the best thing ever.
Okay. Good thing I had advantage. That's a 2.
Nice.
Alright. You said investigation?
Yep.
11.
Okay. You look around the hangar bay. You see 2 ships. One is a sort of... one is the sort of religious shuttle that came from the fleet that Cock and his bodyguards rode on. The other... And Devon, as you look at this ship, your heart drops for a moment because you see a vessel and it looks exactly like an old orc warship, and it's long green black camo sort of tanker ship, heavy with these crude carved spikes sticking out the front. And this is the kind of shuttle that carried Megru death squads that were like orcs that would just go around the galaxy, harass and pillage innocent caravans during the war. You recognize this kind of ship because you used to serve as a medic on one during the war against your will. And as the shock of seeing this ship hits you, you blink, sort of not expecting to see something like this, and when your eyes open once again, the ship is gone, and instead you see just a normal shuttle. You see what the rest of the party would have seen, which is just a normal sort of shuttle that the researchers would have used to get to and fro. And you realize your mind is playing tricks on you as you get more and more tired.
Damn, ain't that the fucking truth?
As you look around investigation, you realize the Vindicta, your ship that you've traveled on for months, is missing, leaving an empty space in the hangar bay where you left it just a couple days ago. The other two ships, as I said, was the Anno Fleet cruiser and this sort of normal shuttle.
Those fuckers? That's fucking bullshit.
Anastasia looks at you as like, all right, which one's yours?
Oh, well, funny thing about that, mine probably left about 3 hours ago.
What? Okay, what do we do now?
Let's think. Yo, what if we... Hear me out on this. What if we went in the ship? You know, they say it's like, oh, if it goes up into the outer space, you'll get shot down and die. Right. Okay. But they can't protect the whole planet. So, what I propose is we get in the ship, we attempt to fly it, and then we go to the other side of this planet, and then we take off from there. Because, theoretically, these people don't have enough ships to circle this entire planet. I mean, maybe they have the ability to blow this entire planet up. I don't know. But I'm a guess they can't guard the entire planet.
She looks at you and she's like, well, if your plan is to go to the other side of the planet and then fly away, then we would require some sort of ship that could get us farther if we cannot access the Thuranian. As this is happening, we'll cut back over to Andrew for a moment. Hugh and Drigi sort of walking, probably not talking much, as there's a solemnness between the two of you as you search for more body parts. And as this is happening, you guys stumble across to the sort of back right corner of the hangar bay, behind the ship that you guys originally came here on, your sort of group of three. And you see two bodies, one of which is a female elf researcher who's hasn't been attacked as bad, but she definitely had some sort of wound that ended up having her bleed out. The other one, you recognize the fur of a Harangon who has just been absolutely ravaged. Although, like, it seems like there was a fight over here because there are two dead invaders, like their armors are on the ground. So you assume that there was some sort of combat that happened in this general area. And yeah, we'll sort of pause there and head back over to the other two who are currently trapped inside of a lab. Reinhardt and Erebus, what would you like to do? You're currently trapped in a lab.
The windows. Is there only the one on the door, or are there multiple windows?
There's one on the door.
Are there any vents?
There's not like air ducts, but there's like small circular tubes above you on the ceiling.
Okay. Using like my cat's claws, could I do like that thing Catwoman does where she sort of like circles the glass and punch it out?
You would like to circle the glass and punch it out?
With like like scratch it with my claws, like Andrew did, or the one upstairs. And
Okay, give me an attack roll.
I had 1. 15.
15, alright, roll some damage, your unarmed strike damage.
1.
Alright, you scrape into the window, creating sort of a slight, sort of dusty crack, and you punch, as you punch into the, where the glass where you just scraped out, you feel the shock come back at you, and you take 1 damage as you punch the glass, and it just zaps you.
So they didn't want people stealing the artifacts, but they had to put some measure in place for when they needed to move the artifacts out of the research lab. Is there a panel on the door that I could like tinker with to make it think? Like is there a way I could force the door open with like electronics?
There's no panel on this side of the door. There was one on the other side that allowed you to get in, but there's no panel on this side of the door. Reinhardt, what are you doing?
I think I'm just like looking around, like looking at the walls, trying to figure out if there's anything else to like any other switches around the room.
Okay, give me an investigation check.
19.
On the console that the large white button on, that is on, you see just sort of, you're not quite sure what it connects to, but there's like a slight sort of, there's like an indent on it that looks like maybe it's some sort of microphone, sort of on the bottom below the button. Something that you'd press a button and speak into, sort of like a radio or something.
Intercom.
Yeah.
You
just go up to it. Let us out here.
No, so I have an idea. So this is my idea. I want to try to test out. We put the 3 items back in the cases, close it, let the door open. I go outside, force the door to stay open, and then we retrieve the items back, or like just break the glass and steal them and get out. Will that work? We would have to try and see if it works. Do we wish to try that, Reinhardt? All right, so I push the white button, things raise, put the items back, close it, and I assume the door opens again.
Yep, the glass cases seal, and the door opens once more.
All right, I want to go to the control panel on the other side of the door and fiddle with it and force the door to stay open.
Okay. Give me a sleight of hand check.
10.
Okay. You fiddle with the sort of panel, the inner workings. You get the receivers to fully connect, and the door slides open.
All right, we try to take the objects out and close the cases again and see if the door closes.
Okay, you rush back into the room, you press the button, the door stays open, you go over to the cases, you start, the cases open, you go over to them, you start pulling out the objects. As that happens, about 10 seconds goes by, the door closes again.
All right, it's 10 seconds, right?
Yeah, in your mind, you could probably have counted about 10 seconds.
All right, and technically each round in combat is 6 seconds, right?
Yep.
So we do it to the point where the doors open and we're able to access the objects, and before the door closes, I would like for us to just grab the objects and run out the door, because we can move 60 feet technically in 6 seconds.
Yeah, so you can both dash as a bonus action, right?
Yeah.
Because you're going to need to use your action to pick up an item.
Yeah, I can dash as a bonus action, and if Reinhardt spends a key point, he can also dash as a bonus action.
Okay, so Reinhardt, would you like to spend a key point for this scenario?
Sure.
Okay, so which item are you each picking up?
I'm gonna. One of us has to grab 2, and then one of us has to grab.
You can
1.
you can only grab 1.
So I have a special ability, which means I wouldn't have to use a bonus action, which would let me double my movement without using a bonus action. So
Okay.
I was wondering if I would then be able to use my action and bonus action to grab 2 items, and my special ability to move 60 feet and get out in 6 seconds.
That would make sense. Yeah. The special ability is like a one-time use per day or something.
It's one use per turn until I spend a turn not moving.
What's it called?
Feline Agility. When you move on your turn in combat, you can double that. That would also be if you would let me do it out of combat.
Yeah, that's fine.
You can double your speed until the end of your turn. Once you use this trait, you can't use it again until you move 0 feet on one of your turns.
Okay, yeah, I'll allow you guys. So, which items are you each grabbing? So you're gonna grab 2, right?
Yes.
I'll be grabbing 1 and he'll be grabbing 2. So I have the gauntlet and the red cloak still technically in my inventory. I didn't.
I'll just give you whichever items are in your inventory once we leave the room. So I'll grab the rod because I know how to deactivate it and make it as movable, and then whichever item is on the left of it, and Reinhardt can grab what's on the right of it.
Okay, so you're gonna grab the gauntlet and the rod. Oh, for
Yes.
fuck's sake. And Comet's gonna grab the fucking cloak. You go outside, you access the panel, get it to happen again. Quickly run inside, press the button, with a huge slap, run over to the items, pick them up. You run back into the hallway. The door just barely doesn't clip you, Erebus, after you grab the 2 items, and it seals shut.
And then I hand the gauntlet over to Reinhardt so it's in his inventory.
So he has the gauntlet and the cloak. You're not wearing them, are you? Or are you wearing them?
No, they're just in my inventory.
All right, you put them in your backpack. Where would you guys like to go now?
I would like. How much time has elapsed when we were doing this? Because I told them to give us 10 minutes, so I don't want to risk it.
Figuring out that whole situation, using your brain power to figure out how to get out, probably would have taken about 15 minutes.
Okay, so they've left without us, I think. I am assuming not, because I said give us 10 minutes, so I assume they've left without us. So I turn to Reinhardt, and I say, it's been more than the 10 minutes I told them to give us. Whether they've left or not is up to Devon and Cock. So I say, since they've probably already left us, we might as well check the other hallway for survivors before we figure out a way to make it to the city nearby that I, for some reason, did not write down the name of.
I agree with your observation.
Do you say that as you smoke on your robot cigar or whatever?
Yeah, I take one out and I light it.
I write that?
Okay, so you guys are headed to where the tiefling was, right?
Yes.
All right, you head down the hallway. Wait a bit. You walk up to the door, scan your card. It opens up, and in this room, there's a large, long, sort of almost like a ship pad that's been built in this sort of carved out rock area. There's also a carving bit. There's a bit that's cracked at the very top, and you think you can almost see moonlight come down, or the equivalent. And sort of spotlighted by this moonlight is a ship. Very different from any kind you've seen before. It's black and orange with red details on the wings that extend out. And the ship itself is probably the size of an escape pod or something, but it's very badly damaged. And it's currently suspended on these 2 long ropes that come down from the ceiling, lifting it up slightly, so that you assume researchers can look all around it.
I'm doing a perception check or an insider investigation or whatever. Do I notice any dead bodies or any possible people still alive in this area?
Yeah, give me perception.
1, 2.
Yep.
19 perception.
20.
20. Both of you guys are pretty sure that this place has not been tampered with, other than people looking.
So there's no corpses or anything?
Nope.
I turn to Reinhardt and say, should we further investigate this possible escape craft, or should we make it to the Hangar Bay to see if our compatriots have left or not?
Sure, maybe I should do a history. Should I do a? I'm gonna do a history check on the shuttle escape pod.
Okay.
See if I know anything about it.
Sure.
A 19. So,
19.
22.
22. Okay. Reinhardt, you search in your mind as you see this craft, and it looks very unique to you. This could be from this galaxy. It's designed similar to some of the ships, but just like the scaling on it is different, the color scheme. You don't think that this is like super alien, honestly.
It looks more human, like a build like a human would.
Not just human, not like human, but like natural, like materials that you would find on planets in the Omega Astria.
So it looks like
the same kind
like,
of steel,
yeah.
steel that like humans would use, but then like the glass is similar to like what the Tritons build their homes out under the sea on Tridonis. Like there's just like certain things that like multiple races of this galaxy built this thing.
So it seems like multiple different races combined together to build this.
Yeah, and not alien ones, like ones from the Omega Astria.
I say that out loud. Like it looks like multiple different races in the Omega Astria built this ship together.
The one thing on it, I should say, because you got 22. The one thing on it that you don't recognize is like the very back paneling is scaled orange. That sort of thing you haven't seen before.
And I say that I've never seen this orange part of the ship. Never I do not recognize it at all.
So now I ask you, what do you guys do with this information? Where would you like to go?
I approach like the scale part and see if it's like a panel that comes out.
Okay, you walk up to the back of the ship. You just brush your hand over it, I guess.
Yeah.
Brush your hand over it. A few of the scales sort of crack off as they like crumble off from whatever damage this thing is taking. It looks like this thing just crashed somewhere. But no, there is no panel that opens up.
And then the second thing is, I just want to see if there's like a black box. You know what a black box is on airplanes?
Yeah.
I want to see if there's something similar to that on this ship that might give us like where it came from, what it's direct, like the charts for the navigational point it started from, what caused it to come here, like what happened, what caused it to crash type thing that we could take with us.
Okay, investigation from you, and then Reinhardt, give me a perception check as you're stood slightly back away from the ship.
13.
19! Didn't fail me. Let's do this.
Okay, so Erebus, you're searching around this ship, and there's certain things that you notice as you like sort of climb in, looking over, looking inside, trying to find the information you seek. The ship is like, while it's an escape pod size, like the sort of cockpit area is built for like one person, sort of compact, but probably wasn't built to have a comeback trip, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And you search, you don't find like a black box exactly. You find a panel that probably would be able to, like, you could similar to that metal disc that Reinhardt gave you, you could probably put something in there and like have it play like a hologram, but there's nothing there. It's probably been taken out.
Is that I pull out the blue rock I took from the lab and I insert it into that spot.
Interesting. Okay. You put the blue rock in the spot. You push it into the ship. And the ship sort of like tries to come to life for a second, but then just sort of fades out. And as that happens, a hologram comes up. And you see, again, very alien. It's like this blue creature made of maybe flame or maybe mist. And it's just sat in some sort of cell looking out. And you just hear this voice, aged, sort of rugged voice say, "You've given them no choice, brother." And then the fiery blue creature looks up and he says, "I have given you all the perfect choice, and you have still failed. You will damn this galaxy, not me." And he's like, the voice on the other side comes back, "I'm sorry you see things that way. I wish there's more I could do to help you." And then the blue creature just shakes his head no, and it goes away. The rock extends out and comes back out.
All right, I repocket the rock.
So yeah, Reinhardt, as you're sort of back farther away from the ship, You can, as you're looking up towards where the moonlight's coming in, you start to realize that the reason there's a hole is like parts of like the ceiling are now like falling in. Like there's just tiny little rocks. And you can see the sort of the suspension rope that's sort of attached to the ceiling is beginning to like tug a bit as the ship is being like pulled down, is pulling down part of the roof.
But the roof, it seems to be falling apart.
Hearing that from Reinhardt, I look up. Do I then see what he was talking about?
Yeah, as you look up, you now see like there was like a few little pebbles that were falling down, and then there's a big yank, and the ship that you're like crawling on top of just like yanks down for a second, and then a huge rock falls and lands on the metal sort of landing strip that you are on, and it begins to like cave down and flow down towards the ground as you need to now. I mean, you can either fall with it or run.
There was nothing
Alright.
else. There was nothing
Right.
else in the cockpit besides that potential hologram player, right?
You can quick check or you can run.
No, I just meant, was there anything else you were going to describe from the 19, or did I get distracted by the hologram play it and then didn't notice anything else?
Yes.
And I'm going to run as well, so I don't fall into a cavern.
Alright, give me a dex save as you sort of the piece of the landing strip that cracks off. There's like a bit of space where you can jump
7?
onto the 7?
Yeah.
Okay, so you jump and you leap and like Reinhardt, you see him jump as this thing is just like falling into this pit, and he leaps up and he like goes to like grab onto the metal, but he just misses it. What do you do, Reinhardt?
I reach out and grab his hand.
Okay, so you reach out your hand. Another dex save from Erebus, but this time with advantage. As you're
just-
quickly falling.
What would my momentum have like slammed me into the wall of like the cavern?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
It's,
So I was
it's all
like,
happening very quickly.
well, I was just gonna say like, because this might help, depending on how you describe it. I was preparing to like extend my claws to my cat climbing.
That's
So I don't know
definitely a
if-
good backup.
I wasn't sure if like they were extended and I accidentally like impale my claws into Reinhardt or not. So, advantage.
Would you like to impale your claws into Reinhardt? I'll allow
No.
that.
No, if this is like a quick enough reaction, I haven't prepared myself to like extend them yet.
Yeah, it's
So-
like as you like reach out, you like miss, and then as you're falling, you see this hand come for you.
21.
All right. Yeah, you successfully pull him up, and there's this bit moment as you like pull up and you're lying on the ground, and Reinhardt's hands are on his knees, and you're both breathing heavily as you just see this platform like just crumble and fall deeper into this hole that's been carved out of this cave area.
I turn to look at Reinhardt, and I'm like, "Thank you for saving my life, Reinhardt. I feel
Anytime.
you have earned to learn a bit of truth about me. Erebus isn't really my name. It's a code name I use in my line of work. I am actually Osiris Ptolemy. I like reach my hand out to him to like shake his hand.
I shake his hand. And I shake it. Anytime, friend.
Okay, you guys are more or less safe. You haven't found any other survivors. Before you guys, I assume your next step would be to head back to the party.
Head back to the landing bay, yeah.
Okay.
Unless
Before you guys do that,
Reinhardt has anything else.
Is there anything else you guys want to do, look at, grab before you exit this lab area? Anything from last session that like intrigued you, but you just weren't sure if you want to pick it up? I don't know. Anything else? I just want.
You want us to go get that mirror, don't you?
I'm just wondering if you want to, because it was sort of an interruption last time, and I just wasn't sure if that was something you were interested in bringing with you.
I turned to Reinhardt as he was the only other person who saw it, right?
Yeah. He saw.
I turned to
your vision.
Reinhardt and I'm like, why we're down here? Do you believe it would be worth getting that mirror from the doctor's lab in order to
If I have a
discern?
certain type of magical presence, maybe we should, just in case.
Yes, believe you're right. We'll go get the mirror.
Okay, and for comedic effect, as you guys pick this thing up, are one of you carrying it by yourself, or are you like gonna grab either end and like bring it out that way?
It's like a full-size mirror, right?
Yeah, it's a full body mirror.
Yeah, both of us are picking it up together.
Awesome. So you're like quickly sort of stealth sprinting with this mirror on either side as you run back towards the elevator. Amazing. I love that picture. All right. We will quickly go back over to the other group as you guys are... Two of you, Cock and Drigi, are sort of looking at these bodies. Drigi walks up to the body of Balaka and just says, "I'm a coward, friend. I'm so sorry. If only I was here." She just puts her head down. She pulls out a little bit of incense and lights it and puts it next to the two bodies of these dead. One of the researcher, one of Balaka. As for Anastasia, the other NPC with you, she's walking over to where the other two are as well, heading over to this shuttle, and she clambers on board and begins looking around to see if there's a way to start this thing up. What do the two player characters in the Hangar Bay would like to do? What do you would like to do?
I walk up to Cock and I ask him, I'm like, so we, did have the other party members who, split up from us, and they said 10 minutes. It's been a little bit longer than that. Do we want to stay, or do we want to move on? I would lean more towards staying because, those are too valuable, and they really helped us out and saved our asses at a few points. So, I don't know. What are the Cock's thoughts on that?
We haven't even found a working ship, have we?
A what?
There's two ships. You don't know if they work. I guess would assume that they do since you used them but a day ago. But Anastasia's currently on board yours because it's more sort of ready for actual space travel rather than just like getting from to and fro.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm gonna go make sure that works first before actually deciding whether or not to leave.
Right. Okay. You board the ship. Not even saying anything to the guy that just poured his house out to you. You just walk past him onto the ship. Very cool. And yeah, this ship is about... When Andrew told me the name of his character, I was like, I have to make the ship that he comes to the facility on in the shape of a penis. So it's definitely like shaft with two balls at the end for the engines. And you walk on, there's like this long area where like people could sit and seatbelt in, sort of similar to like a one of those planes that I always have in military movies where everyone jumps out at the end. And then there's
we
the
jump
cockpit.
out the front like a bunch of sperm.
Anastasia's currently in the cockpit, like on her back, sort of looking into this like control panel area, trying to figure out what's happening. Where would you like to go on the ship?
I'm gonna look at the engine testicles.
All right.
Area.
You can give me an investigation check, Cock.
5.
Okay. You look at the engines. You're sort of like putting your fingers on your chin, You're looking real smart right now. You're really figuring out what's happening, and you realize the ship is not on right now.
Good. As I thought.
And Devon, you can see the turtle sort of pensively staring at this engine, just nodding his head like, yes, I know what I'm doing.
My worry grows.
You can also see the elephant woman who's now stood up away from the two dead bodies. She like puts her fingers out to close both their eyes and just walks on board the ship, nodding at the orc as she walks by, and just sits down, just, sort of in her own thoughts as everything's happened so quickly. You imagine she probably saw quite a bit of chaos. So have the rest of you. All right. As that happens, you guys hear the elevator doors on your floor open up. You're not quite sure what that is, but I will let you infer to your heart's content. Is there anything else you'd like to do on board the ship? Do you want to check the actual power core of the ship? Do you want to make sure that key's in the ignition? What would you like to do?
Yeah, I'm gonna turn it on. Make sure it's good.
All right, you go over to press the on button. The other two, Erebus and Reinhardt, the elevator door opens. You see the welcome center I described earlier with the orange carpet and the 6 chairs, one of which has been knocked over, probably in some sort of combat or chase. On the right side, there's this alcove with barrels and supplies. On the other side, there's the welcome center. Nobody currently attending to it. You smell death. And then there's a hallway further down to the left that leads to the docking bay.
I look over at the supplies. Can I just do a perception check to see if it's like foodstuffs that would be useful to like take with us on a...
You can investigate it, yeah.
I will roll to see. 15 investigation.
Yeah, so the supplies are currently things like uniforms for the researchers. There are like dull badges that probably can be activated for people who get higher clearance. And then one of them is just straight up, like, you don't know why it's here, but one of them is just like a straight up barrel of adult diapers.
I look at the barrel of diapers. I turn to Reinhardt and I'm like, I just start laughing at it. I'm like, why is this at a research facility?
I have a smile on my face. I try to like treat it.
I think this is like my delirium getting
Yeah.
I'm like, why are there adult diapers at a research facility? I mean, come on. Noticing there's no like foodstuffs that would be good supplies for an extended journey amongst the stars, I keep heading to the shuttle bay.
Yeah, as you head towards the shuttle bay, on the right side, so there's like a hallway that leads down left towards the hangar bay. On the right side, there's a door that you see says storage closet. Do you continue towards the docking bay?
I turn to Reinhardt and I say, I wish to check the storage, see if there's anything useful that we could take with us. Do you want to search with me, or do you wish to continue on with the mirror to the hangar bay and see if our companions are still there?
With us being quite tired at this point, I think we should carry it together when we leave.
Okay. So I will...
Do you want to place it down for a second?
Yeah.
Alright, you guys place the mirror down for a moment and head over to the storage closet. You guys can now, actually, Erebus, with your passive perception, you can hear noises coming from the docking bay. Someone fidgeting with something, people slight sort of mumbles of chatter.
The engines of a spaceship turning.
You definitely hear like Devon's voice distinctively, so you at very least know that they haven't left yet. You open the storage closet, you look inside. In here is like, imagine like in Phantom Menace on Tatooine when they're like those like stores that just have like rusted, really messed up old parts of spaceships. That's basically what this closet is, just like different cabinets just full of like pieces you don't even know what they go to, old power cores. Like there's a fucking ethereal engine, there's a I don't know, a steering wheel there. There's all kinds of shit.
Can I do like a perception or investigation check to see if there's anything like highly valuable that is portable that we could like take with us and sell if we need, or like barter for a better spaceship type situation?
Yeah, you can do perception or investigation.
I will do perception. Jacob, would you wish to help me and give me the help action so I have advantage?
Sure, I'll do it too.
Yeah, so you both just start pulling out these like plastic Tupperwares and are searching through all this garbage.
I got a nat 20 on my perception.
Okay, you actually find.
Wait, you did?
Yeah, I did. Legitimately.
I did too.
Okay, you both find each. You both find one power core. However, the caveat is that these things are like older models. There was like an update. There's an update in recent years, but you probably could sell this to someone who doesn't know that for quite a bit of coin. But yeah, it's just thrown away amongst the garbage.
I pocket it. I assume it's like pocketable.
Yeah, it's like the size of an American football, basically.
All right, I pocket it, and I'm like, mirror time, and I go to like pick the mirror back up and head towards everyone else.
All right, the mirror boys pick up their mirror, begin heading back over to the party. You can see the party gathered around this shuttle, some of them inside this sort of penis-shaped spaceship, as you guys carry the mirror over.
Just like, you're still here?
I had to get my arms.
Of course it did.
Good. You guys are still alive. We were a little worried for a sec.
The other two notice the Vindicta is not currently in the docking bay.
Shit. I sort of like say it loud enough that everyone hears. I'm like, all right. Could I do like, with my underworld knowledge from my past, would I be able to tell whether or not either of these two ships would be a good escape vessel, and like how far they and how much we could survive, like what firepower are on these ships that would let us like get past the blockade?
Yeah, you can give me a roll. Sort of history probably would be the best stat for that.
7.
7.
Yeah.
Basic
Unless I have
information. The basic information is like both of these look like ships. Neither of them have weapons on them. They're both just shuttles. And yeah, you assume that they could get pretty far. Obviously, fuel would be an issue, but if you can meet up with one of the space forges, maybe. The problem is currently, you can hear Anastasia inside, like, oh, fuck it, Jesus, as she's currently trying to get this thing to actually fucking start. And you just see Cock in the sort of console area just constantly pressing the power button, nothing happening, as she's like, no, just press it again, maybe, no, oh, God.
Are you flooding the engine? That was...
She just shouts out, it's not the engine, it's the power core. It's completely, it's like it's been, I don't know, overflowed or something with energy.
Is it perchance the giant power source that was a rock that brought up here? I turn to like that glowing blue rock that was like shooting off energy to the Dragonborn, and I like stare at it. Is it affecting the engines at all?
It's still just pouring into the Dragonborn, who is still asleep. You guys also sort of note, now that you're paying attention to the Dragonborn, he doesn't currently have a spacesuit on. He's just asleep on Devon's shoulder. Unless you set him down at this point, but I assume you haven't.
Nope, just still hang on to him. Sorry.
I remembering this off the top of my head, I'm like, shit. You guys remember that EMP that was set off by the Trailblazer, the enemy ship in space that shut down the Ferengian? I'm guessing that is what is overloading the power core of this vessel. None of the ships might be able to fly at this base from the space battle above.
Anastasia pokes her head out, now like grease covered on her face. She's like, okay, well, if they overfled the power cores, we just have to find a new one, and hopefully the ship would still work. The problem is,
I pull a power core out of my pocket. I'm like this.
She walks over to it. She's gonna roll. She looks at it. This is an older model. We need a far older ship for this to actually power it. Otherwise, the ship won't take off into the atmosphere.
Okay, I put it away.
Okay.
We could try the research vessel just to see if that works for some reason. If it had EMP shielding.
She sort of shrugs. Yeah, I mean, At this point, I'll try anything to get out of here. Worst case scenario, we head outside the hangar bay using the large hangar door, and we just try to find a native settlement. Sometimes when we run out of fuel, we'll go to one of the native settlements and they'll sell us some in trade for some of the things we've discovered. Of course, we wouldn't give them any of the stuff we discovered in this mission, but perhaps there's something we have that they would be interested in, and they carry some of that stuff sometimes. They also carry like air and things like that. Oxygen, I mean.
What about the major trading hub that's not too far away from the base?
Knox Hollow? We could try to make our way there, but that's probably a 2 or 3 day journey on foot.
Okay. Is there no, like... I'm saying this in our terms, but, like, you know, like the moon buggy that we took to, like, the moon and let the astronauts, like, drive around? Do we have any, like, ground transportation vehicles, like cars that we could drive on the surface?
Did you see any in the courtyard? That's where we usually hold those.
I don't believe I was looking for them at that time. I could go check, and in the process, also get a spacesuit for our Woken friend.
Okay, we only have 2 of them at the facility, so hopefully there's enough for everyone. She just sort of awkwardly says, and then heads back towards towards the other ship to see if it will start up. So you want to go back up towards the surface?
I turn towards Reinhardt, Devon, and Talk. I'm like, what do you guys think? Should we try for any land rovers to make the Knox Hollow, or should we try to find a closer local settlement?
I'm not sure how the locals will ultimately help us against space terrorists. I don't know, that's my input. But
I believe we should at least look to see if there are any land rovers outside.
That would be a good first step.
I will go to the surface, hopefully get a spacesuit for our newfound friend. I gesture towards the Dragonborn. Also check to see if there's any land rovers. At this point, we've been like holding this mirror. We haven't put it down yet. Me and Reinhardt put the mirror down. And I turn to Devon and Cock and Reinhardt. Do any of you wish to join me on the scouting adventure, or shall I go by myself?
Come with.
All right, so Erebus and Reinhardt head back towards the elevator, leaving the rest of the group. Anastasia looking at the shuttle, Drigi staring into space as she's sort of shell-shocked from Balaka's death. Cock being himself, probably spinning on his shell, and Devon questioning how he got himself into this situation in his life.
I just shake my head and go sit in the ship.
Okay.
Before we go, I turn to Devon. Since you are a medic by profession, if you could, while we're trying to figure out a way out of here, just if there's a medical facility on either of the shuttles, put our new friend there and make sure he's healthy and not in any danger.
Good suggestion. Very good. In my hands, they will be fine. You do not have to worry.
All right. You guys head back towards the elevator. Door opens. Climb inside. You're going back up to the top of the facility, right?
Yep.
All right. You press the button. Door closes. You guys go up 2 floors. And the door opens.
I thought it was 1 floor up from the shuttle bay.
Oh, yeah, sorry. 1 floor up from the shuttle bay. You guys go up 1 floor. Door opens. And the courtyard that you see immediately is clear. There's plenty of footsteps everywhere. Just footsteps. There's a couple of bodies that are laying out. Blood on the ground. And yeah, what would you like to do?
Look to see if I see any of these land vehicles that were mentioned by Anastasia.
All right, investigation check.
Do you wish to help Reinhardt?
Yes.
Okay. That just means I now have advantage. Let's do this. 17.
17. You check the courtyard.
18.
You don't see any land vehicles. There's sort of like a not like a tent, but like a metal sort of alcove area where there probably were parked, little garage that is empty. You can see tire tracks leading off somewhere into the waste. You assume most likely some sort of researcher or someone used it to escape. Used both of them. Is that all you want to do?
I would also like to grab like as many of the breathing suits as we can carry, so we can maybe not get one breathing suit and then as many of like the oxygen components as I can to like bring it down to the group.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. You grab one suit, and you can probably grab just enough oxygen for the. You can grab. Hold on, let me do the math for me. 5 people.
And if Reinhardt helps me carry oxygen,
that's assuming that he helps out. Yeah.
I will.
That's like the max. Even if we put some in some in a crate, get like a wheelie thing, and start like wheeling it out to the.
I mean, you could do that. There's like, there's not really a crate. There's like a chest that you could empty and put stuff in, but then you'd have to carry that like you carried the mirror.
I say we grab a chest, fill it with as much oxygen as we can, and then 2-man carry it back down. So essentially, I'm trying to gather supplies to help us survive.
Yeah. Okay. You fill a chest full of oxygen tanks, so you can get about, I'll say, the entire party gets an extra day, and then one other person can have 2 extra days.
We won't be able to make it on foot to...
Not unless you refuel, and Anastasia mentioned that some of like the native settlements will carry oxygen on them to trade when these sort of immigrants come by and like they're like, please, I'm lost, and they're like, yes, of course, we'll give you this, but you must give me all of your items, sort of thing.
And then, just because I don't know how long we're going to be stuck here, I turned to Reinhardt. I'm like, besides the oxygen, it might be a good idea while we're up here to take as many non-perishable food items from the cantina as we can in order to supply our endeavors to escape.
I agree. We can get on that.
If it takes 2 trips, we'll bring the oxygen to the elevator and then like go get the non-perishables and like bring them back and then like.
Yeah. So since you're putting all the oxygen tanks in your chest instead of your backpack, I will say that you can get about like 5 days of rations in your backpacks
on top
for the full
of
group.
On top of what we already have.
Yeah. So let's just put it in Erebus's backpack to make it more simple.
So I now have 10 rations.
Yeah, enough rations to feed the entire current party for the next 5 days.
Yes,
what
and
would
then
you guys like to do?
Because we were in the armory when we were getting the oxygen tanks, I would also like to do like a perception or investigation to see if there's any like high-grade weaponry or armor or like shields that would be useful in our survival, like getting out of here, that we should take with us.
I will say, without even making an investigation check, the only like weapons you find are like poking sticks and stuff like that, because this place was before now was not expected to be like a highly attacked facility. You know, this was like just a normal research facility hidden away on a planet that people barely come to.
So they expected us to be like the guards in case anything bad happened.
Yeah, that or just, I mean, basically what you know about the mission is the only one that was allowed to see anything was Leon. So clearly there was some significance to him being here, and maybe you guys just so happened to be part of the crew that he brought, you know? Because when you guys were here, you just spent the day walking around, basically.
Well, I spent the day staring at people in the canteen.
Yeah, exactly.
Seeing that there's no weapons of worth, and there's nothing else really up here that we want to take unless we want to like check to confirm other deaths, which I don't really care about at this point. Because I took the captain's weapon.
Yeah.
Does the captain have any like dog tags on him or something?
You want to investigate his...
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
10.
Okay. You feel around, you don't notice any dog tags. You feel around in his armor, like under the crease of like one of these metal plates. You pull out these 2 pieces of paper, one of which is a picture of, you assume, like 2 older humans you assume is his mom and dad, and they're just like chilling on a ranch somewhere on Elfir. The other picture is of him about 10 years younger in some sort of academy or something, but next to him, 10 years younger as well, because that's how time works, is a young Leon Adrian, and they're just sort of like arms around each other like, hey, you know, sort of in the picture, like having fun.
I put them back 'cause I don't really need them.
All right, put the pictures
He
back.
should die with them. He should keep them in the afterlife as he ascends to the Duat. Whatever. All right, I turn to Reinhardt. Unless there's anything else you need up here, I believe it's time for us to return to the Shuttle Bay and inform them of the bad news.
All right, you guys head back down. Elevator hums as your senses are filled with all the death you've seen today and the sorrow of not really knowing what's going on. But at least one win you have is this creature that you have escaped the clutches of the tiefling with.
Before we went down, could I have looked up at where I last saw the space battle to see if there's been any progress from it?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, you look up as you're heading back towards the elevator. The number one thing of note that has changed is the combat has completely stopped. There's no one's attacking the Thuranian anymore. It's just that large ship that looms over it. It's definitely closer to the Thuranian now. And the thing you notice is the Thuranian just when before the ship would have had lights all over it and it would have been this beacon of hope in the sky, it's now just a black, essentially just space turd as it just sits in the inky blackness of the sort of probably now 2 a.m., not really sun out, just sort of darkness in the sky.
Yep.
All right, you head back down. So you meet up with the rest of the crew. What's your guys' sort of plan? Do you want to... Anastasia will inform you that the other shuttle has similar core issues as the ship, and
so the issue is
shrugs her hair. She shrugs
the
her
issue
shoulders.
is the core is being overloaded, right?
Yeah, the core just seems to be kaput.
I just want to remember this correctly. The escape pod collapsed into a fat a cavern below, right? It's no longer there. Okay.
That was not easily accessible.
That was my other idea.
You could crawl down there. I mean,
see if that had when I was investigating, would I have noticed if there was a power core that would have been useful for our current vessels?
You didn't notice one from the cockpit, no.
Then I won't suggest that. I returned to the. Unfortunately, both Land Rovers are gone. The Thurangian is still dead in space. I gathered extra oxygen for everyone, so hopefully this will allow us to make it to a nearby village. But considering we are running on 3 hours of sleep, before we set off walking to a nearby village that will hopefully get us to Nox Hollow, where we can hopefully purchase a decent enough war vessel to fight our way off this planet, we need to take a good enough rest that will allow us to recoup our strength and make us not pass out from exhaustion in an area where we are limited on oxygen.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
You guys would like to... Are you going to sleep on board the ships or just sort of...
I'm looking around, seeing if anyone has any other ideas, if anyone disagrees with my plan. So I'm trying to get people involved.
Anyone have any other ideas in the group?
Well, I'm just gonna light one of my cigars for a moment.
Okay.
I'm back looking at the testicles inquisitively.
I've just been playing solitaire in the ship.
So literally no one heard me?
No, I heard
I think you talked
don't
to
have
no
any
one.
input.
Or you
Oh, I
talked to
heard you.
Jacob, but Nick and I were both in the ship.
Drigi will walk out and offer to, with her elephant strength, offer to carry the chest full of oxygen tanks.
I say we sleep in the ambassador's vessel, hopefully seal the ship so no one can get in. while we move what supplies we have into that vessel, I am going to go hopefully disable both the elevator and the door to the hangar bay, so any potential intruders remaining, or if they decide to come back, we will have enough of an alarm of them trying to break into here so we can wake up and be ready for them.
You want to disable the elevator in the hangar bay? So when you guys leave, where do you want to leave from?
I want to disable it enough that it's like hard for someone else to get in, but I would be able to repair it.
I mean, it's that way now. You can only access it from within. Like, you can't open it from outside. You know what I mean? Someone would have to be inside, open it, and then attack.
Oh,
like it wouldn't.
I don't mean like the hangar bay door. I mean like I want to disable the elevator, and then I want to disable like the door in this level that lead from like the door that leads from the welcome area to the hangar.
Right.
So it's like both the elevator and the door that leads into the hangar from the base are, so it's like double protection.
There's just like an open hallway, so you don't need to do that.
Then I'll just disable the elevator.
All right, sounds good. Sleight of hand check. What are the rest of you doing as Erebus apparently talks to himself and then walks away?
Could I have advantage on this because I'm like actually trying to take my time?
Yeah.
It's not like I'm rushed.
I'm still currently smoking a cigar.
18 for disabling the elevator.
Yeah, you successfully shut down the elevator, essentially making it get stuck at the bottom, and it does not move when you press the buttons.
All right. Then I'm going to go back to the ship, realizing that Devon and Cock and Anastasia, I assume Anastasia listened to me, and Reinhardt.
Anastasia, is pulling out. She's just taken off her lab coat and laid it on the ground, and she's just lying on it in the hangar bay.
I sort of do like that cat thing where they like arch their backs before they go to sleep.
Yeah.
And then like just pass out on the floor.
Dridgy places the air tanks inside the ship. She's actually going to walk over to Devon where the Dragonborn is sleeping. She attaches the suit to him and just sort of looks at him like, "We're going to get you out of here, I promise," as he sleeps. And she just sort of pets his head and all that shit.
Thanks for putting on the suit.
She nods. Like, "We're going to get out of here. I have faith in the ambassador."
I got the cock.
Yeah.
Oh.
She gotta finish it up, you know.
So Erebus is lying down for, I assume, a long rest?
Yeah, because I assume if we go much farther on our little sleep, or if we take a short rest and then try to go, we're going to quite quickly pick up exhaustion, which will not be good.
Right, and you guys haven't slept in like a whole day, so yeah. So you begin to close your eyes and go to sleep. Dridgy sort of just like holds the Dragonborn as he sleeps as well. She closes her eyes, sitting in a chair. Anastasia is lying.
Are they all so far in the ship?
The only one who's not currently in the ship asleep is Anastasia, who's sleeping outside the ship in the hangar bay, just on her lab coat.
Well, I'm gonna climb on top of the ship and fall asleep on there.
Okay, give me a acrobatics roll to see if you climb up on top of the ship nicely.
22.
Yeah, so it's very quiet. You sort of get up. There's maybe a light like toof sound as you sort of step on initially, but then you just sort of slowly lower yourself and lie down on top of the shuttle, the cock shuttle.
Pops my cigar off.
Nice. Devon, are you gonna try to get some sleep as well, sitting in this chair, or are you gonna do anything to... I believe you all have bedrolls, so you technically could lay one of those out if you wanted to.
Yeah, I'll lay a bedroll out on like a elevated bench and then just take a
I
snooze.
actually don't have a bedroll.
Okay, so you lay out a bedroll. It seems the human has misplaced his, so he just lies on the metal.
I take off my shirt and I just put it on my head for my head.
Okay.
Like a cat. So.
And you have fur. You're basically a walking pillow.
Cock, what are you doing?
Before I go to bed, I walk around the hangar using divine sense to make sure I don't sense anybody dicking around.
All right, what does Divine Sense do?
It detects good and evil and celestial fiend and undead within 60 feet of me.
Good and evil is very vague.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, you cast Divine Sense over yourself and you walk around. In this immediate hangar bay and the Welcome Center area, you sense nothing in the 60 feet around it.
Cool. In that case, I am satisfied and I go to bed.
All right, do you just immediately go, okay, done, and then go into your shell and fall asleep?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
And
And
like a long rest or a short
where
rest?
exactly in the area are you asleep? Just like in the hangar bay somewhere?
I'm like in one of the corners of the hangar bay.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you may all benefit from a long rest. As you guys sleep, Devon, you have a dream. You're having this sort of restless sleep on your bedroll. You're turning back and forth because in your dream, you see the open, empty vacuum of space. Black soup with tiny flecks of stars that swirl in your mind, and you feel like you're being consumed by space itself. But a flash of light distracts you from this feeling, and you see a ship that's speeding towards you in the inky blackness. You believe that it's some sort of ring transport ship, so it's just like a basic, probably human cruiser, and it's being pursued by two ships that you now recognize as the ship you thought you saw earlier, these Megru Death Squad mercenary vessels. And suddenly your vision takes you elsewhere, and you're behind someone in some sort of sci-fi corridor, and she's running, these red lights flashing of this alarm sound going off, and in her hands you see a newborn baby, and it cries out in fear as the alarm blares. Your mind skips again. Now you're in some sort of bed chamber where the mother is like searching quickly through this like desk drawer, and as she does this, a large orc appears in the doorway behind her with this silver paint clawed across his face, and a large jagged orcish blade swings. You try to hide from the horror of this dream by picturing yourself back in the hallway, but it's not enough because you can hear the screams of this woman being brutally murdered. As 3 more orcs run inside the room, and the stabbing noises and the blood gushing gets louder and louder in your mind. And then, when there's no more screaming and the blood finishes flowing out from under the doorway, calm comes over you and your vision returns to that of space. And now, compared to the other scenes, space seems fine. You prefer the emptiness, you prefer seeing nothing.
Truly.
But once more, you see the ship again, and the dream repeats itself, and the moments of violence over and over and over again in your mind, and your sleep is restless, and your brain echoes with the sounds of this child, her baby crying out helplessly. But you do get the benefits of a long rest. You may all activate that and get your spells back and all of that good shit.
Did we level up?
You currently do not level up. But yeah. As you guys wake up, who's the first one awake?
I'll do it.
Yep, you wake up. Erebus, what's the first thing you would do when you wake up?
Immediately check my surroundings to make sure nothing wrong has happened in the night.
Okay. You look around, give me a perception check as you immediately look around. The rest of you guys are sort of stirring. Devon, your mind is still caught up on this scene that you saw 100 times. 12. You look around. So far, everything seems normal. You see Devon laying on the floor. You note, you can still hear sort of the tapping of Reinhardt's feet above the ship as he's beginning to wake up as well. You obviously don't see Anastasia and Cock because they're outside in the hangar bay.
I check on the Dragonborn, see if he's awake.
As you look towards where Drigi and the Dragonborn were asleep last night, he was sort of asleep on her lap as they cuddled together. Both of them are gone.
I step out of the ship.
Step out of the ship, you look around, you see Anastasia like, good morning. And she sort of gets up off of her lab coat. You can see Cock in the corner, chilling as he begins to poke his head out. You do not see the Dragonborn or the Loxodon.
Is the hangar door open?
Yes, as you look over, you now see a slight smudge open, like just enough for a humanoid to get out as the hangar bay has been opened.
Damn it. I quickly gather everyone.
Okay, yeah, everyone gets up quickly, pulling their gear together, pulling on their backpacks and their armor, readjusting sort of. Yeah, I assume you guys slept in your suits, but just like pulling them on so they're not like all sleep wonky. Anastasia's like yawning, taking like sleep crusties out of her eyes. What's the panic? What's the panic?
Unfortunately, Cock's bodyguard and our newly awakened person from the stasis pod downstairs seem to have taken off in the night. I gaze at Cock and like, do you know why your bodyguard would have taken off without your permission?
To be honest, I haven't seen much of my bodyguard since we've gotten to this outpost. And on top of that, I just met her when we got on the ship to come here, so I don't really know her that well.
I say we go after them.
Hello.
Do I look at like the oxygen I got for the party? Does it look like they took any extra?
Yes, as you open the chest, you see that 5 of the sort of oxygen tanks, enough for the 2 of them would probably last 3 days with the amount that they took.
They're heading for Knox Hollow. We must follow them as best we
Are
can.
any of you like good trackers? Like, do any of you have a background in like tracking footprints and all that shit?
I don't know if
I track heretics.
yeah.
Traitors!
I don't. Based on my background, I'm probably pretty good at hunting people down for missions, but I don't know like how I would go about that would fit in this situation.
You can give me a survival or investigation check of sort of the immediate ground outside of where the hangar bay comes up.
Neither of those are pretty great for me, but I'll try.
But the D20 will make its case.
4.
Any of you can do that, actually. Any of you who want to try to take a look around outside to see if they can notice anything. Investigation or survival, whichever one's higher. Or nature, if you want to try that.
Yeah, my stat for looking around at things is perception.
I got an 18.
18, nice.
Someone want to roll me a survival? I'm not allowed to scroll down to S.
Roll it. You got a 13.
I rolled you a 4. You want to take that?
Yay!
I got a 15.
Okay. Reinhardt and Devon, as you guys exit out, there are these, like, vague footprints that... Hold on. They lead off sort of... Basically just, like, straight in the general direction of where the hangar bay leads out of for quite a while. They don't look human. They look like an elephant would leave these kind of tracks.
Cool.
What would you guys like to do?
I'm assuming they told me about these tracks.
Well, what
I did.
Do they?
Yes.
Reinhardt shared.
Okay. Yeah. Reinhardt's being useful.
I say
Sorry.
no. That's good that you shared. I say we follow them. We take as much oxygen as we can to survive as long. We follow them, and if we start running out of oxygen, I guess we have to try to find a village nearby.
I agree.
There's not
Let's
much.
go.
There's
You
not much
guys
else we can
going
do.
on the quest to save. So, but yeah, basically, you're from the scenario you have. Your options are to stay for a bit and try to assess the situation, or head out, because you guys were gonna head out anyway, and it's basically in the same direction. The only question is, do you want to focus on going after these tracks or focus on trying to find a settlement? You might stumble upon one anyway, but it's really up to what your guys' focus
I
is.
say we focus on finding the track. We find them.
Yeah, they say we go after the tracks as well.
All right.
Does that work for you, Anastasia?
Anastasia's like she says,
My entire family was killed.
she says, if you guys don't mind, actually, I think I might stay here. I was thinking about it last night, and while I may be a quality researcher, I don't know how long I will fare in the wastelands of Zolkral Prime. Far more suited to people of your talents. I think I should wait here and see if anyone comes for reinforcements.
All right. All
right, bye.
I'm like trying to. Yes, I agree. Your skill set isn't necessarily the best for surviving in this barren wasteland, and you probably will be safer here at the facility.
If you guys have any way of communicating with me, perhaps I could send you, information, but I don't know.
In that uniform, would I have noticed any radios any time when I was searching for oxygen and food, and in the barrels in the first room or in the junk storage closet when I got that nat 20?
No, nothing of that sort of design.
Unfortunately, no, not really.
No spells or anything that allow you to communicate?
Well, we have this mirror, which I guess we're going to leave with you because I don't think it's feasible for us to try to carry it across the wasteland.
Right. Yes, of course. I will watch over your mirror. She looks into it. She's like,
"Don't look into it.
This is
It
odd.
gives you visions."
I don't see anything." And then, as she looks into the mirror, the inky blackness begins to swirl and blurs, and then in the vision you see actually a ship on board, some sort of ship, and there's these moments. You see a pulse of a moment where there's an empty hangar bay where there's just nothing. There's no bodies, there's no anybody. It's just completely empty, and then it goes black again, and then it shows the bridge of a ship where once again all the control panels have been shut off and everything is just completely turned off, and there's nobody working it, nothing. And then it shows a few rooms where everything's empty, and then it just fades away and goes back to the space blackness. She's like, "What? That was the Thuranian. It's empty."
Kidnapped everyone, apparently. That's not good.
Oh god.
Or it's false. I don't know if these visions are true or not. Any magic users want to see what this mirror is?
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Ooh, that looks pretty cool. I go over to it.
All right, give me an Arcana check.
Could I use the help action to help him?
Since you're not a mage, I'm gonna say no.
Does Devon want to use the help action to help him?
I think Devon's a bit occupied with his dream, more likely, actually.
Natural 20.
Oh, that doesn't matter.
Who needs help? Exactly.
All right. Cock, you look at this mirror and you immediately you don't recognize it, but you can sense the power that this mirror is designed to show you the outcome of whatever it is most in your mind you want to see. For example, as you just saw with Anastasia, she probably was like, what is the best way out of here right now? Or, what is the situation with the Thuranian? Something like that. And it showed a vision of that on the mirror.
Oh.
And Anastasia's like, oh my goodness, this is very powerful.
Yes.
She walks up to it again. She's like, I want to see my boyfriend. And nothing happens. Fuck. Also, with the natural 20, you would know that this thing has 1 use per day.
I turn to Cock and I'm like, so, is the visions it shows true? Or are they, false?
The visions show the outcome of whatever you are thinking of. If you do it, the vision is what will happen. So it is true if you do it.
I'm starting to think in my brain, how is that vision of my dad talking to my past crime bosses? How would me what would I be doing in this situation that would have been made that true? Like, how do I prevent this from happening? I'm like slowly like.
Erebus's eyes just get real wide as he thinks in his own head. Well, Anastasia speaks up and says, "Well, the tracks are probably getting cold. We don't have no idea how long."
If we find a ship that works, do you wish for us to come back and help you?
Yes,
Okay.
please. If you have a way off this planet, I need to get home and see my family.
All right, let's go, boys. Bye, Anastasia. Good luck.
She doesn't really know what to do to say goodbye, so she just like awkwardly salutes you.
Shit. Do you know how to repair an elevator to get to the food on the first floor? Because right now it's broken.
Who would have done that?
How did it break?
I disabled it for safety reasons.
Well, do you know how to undisable it?
Could I just like go and undo what I did last night quickly?
Not quickly. I mean, you can try, but
Just stabbed it.
You said I had enough rations with the 10 for.
yeah, for like 5 days. For now, with like two less party members, you have like enough for probably 7 or 8 days.
Plus all the
especially
everyone
with
else,
Anastasia not coming.
and because Devon, Reinhardt, and Cock each probably also have 5 rations from their base.
Yeah, you guys got plenty.
So I pull out.
The one concern is oxygen, but you have like enough for you can get probably 2 days of travel.
If I pull out 3 rations, how much would that help her for?
Help Anastasia.
Yes.
She's like, this will get me through. If I can try to figure out how to get back upstairs, this will get me through enough time to figure that out.
Okay.
She thanks you.
I don't really have enough
awkwardly
time.
salutes you.
I like not used to saluting because a lot of my work has been,
Undercover.
off the record. I'm like, I put like all 5 of my hands up, and I'm like, all 5 of my hands, all 5 of my fingers up. A little bit awkward as well, and I'm like, I wish you luck. And then I start bolting out the door after the track.
She looks as Erebus runs out. She looks at the rest of you and she's like, "If you find Dr. Banks, please tell him that I made it." And she just sits down.
I give her a severed hand high five.
She does not high five the sword hand. She's just sort of looks at you like, "Yes, of course. Goodbye, friend."
I grab her wrist and I high five her with the severed hand.
She's just sort of like trying to smile, like nodding, like, "Yes, okay. Please go."
I walk backwards, staring into her eyes as I go.
Alright, walking backwards, the rest of you head outside. Anastasia, probably about like 5 minutes travel outside of the hangar bay. Anastasia, you hear the door as the hangar bay closes. Alright, you guys are just gonna follow the tracks, I assume.
Yep, I mean, there's not much else we can do.
Is there any sort of condition, like if blank happens, we'll stop, or if, unless anything I say happens, is there anything you guys would like to stop for or camp out for or anything like that?
If we see a village that's close enough to our path that we could go get more oxygen, we'll stop for that. Or if we in the distance can see who we're tracking, I would like to start running up on them so we can close the distance faster.
All right, sounds good. You guys head out into the wastes, moving quite quickly, although sort of trying not to overdo yourselves as you search for your already lost companion. You guys move you guys walk for about 5 hours as you continue following these tracks, these large elephant stomps through the sort of dusty, chalky rock planet.
I know this might be too late, but was the blue rock that was giving off energy, was that still in the shuttle? Or did the elephant somehow take it with her as well?
The blue rock? She did not take that, no. It would have still been in the shuttle.
We're not
I
taking
assume
it
you
either.
guys left that with Anastasia.
Yeah, 'cause that was a little bit too heavy for us to... the mirror, wasn't a great idea to be dragging it across country, right?
Right, especially when you're trying to haste towards somebody. So yeah, you guys move for about 5 hours. It's about midday now.
Speaking
Probably
of-
just like right about midday.
Speaking of haste, does anyone have the haste spell that could like speed us up?
I don't think so.
Uh,
You guys continue your travel. You go past these large mountains. You can see to the sort of east of you this huge mountainscape with these like slightly darker gray spiky mountains that lead up, and just below it on the other side is like this like it looks like a desert connected to like the sort of rocky area, but like the sand there is thicker and darker and does not look very pleasant. On the western side of you is sort of like where these tracks are now curving towards. You see a rocky mountain that almost connects to the valley that the facility was in, but the valley ends and then you sort of walk alongside this rocky wall to your west. And like I said, about 5 hours into the travel, you guys notice that the surrounding area almost becomes a bit more foggy. Like the sun is becoming harder to see, the hydros in the sky. You also see that the battle, like the ships above the facility, the sort of larger enemy ship is just gone, and now the Thuranian just remains sort of hovering above where the facility is. And yeah, you see this rocky area. Actually, with your passive perception, Erebus, you hear howling in the distance. As this wolf noise howls out.
it seems the wolves are on the prowl, boys. Be prepared for combat. But let's keep moving. I pull out my like pistol, and I keep going. I mean, it's not like we can stop, and we have to keep going.
All right. Everyone, give me another investigation, nature, or survival check. Whatever your best stat in that regard is.
3.
And then tell me what stat you're using when you do.
Survival. That's my best one. And
3 on survival.
Yep. Otherwise, it would have been a 2 for the other 2.
Survival and someone roll for me.
That's an 8.
Better than my nat 1 I rolled for you.
Survival 11.
Survival 11. What'd you get?
6.
6. All right. Pretty crummy rolls all around. Reinhardt, you all sort of like lose the tracks for a second, but then Reinhardt's able to sort of double back and pick them up where they left off, and notice that the rocky mountain area to your west sort of curves over, and now there's like an indent area where these footprints almost like, you notice they almost sort of pick up, like maybe she started sprinting at this point. And you guys keep going, probably another hour of travel, where you guys are now in this sort of like dead zone where the mountains curve around. It's not exactly a valley, but there's enough cover, and you see sort of openings up in the mountains, like these small little holes where creatures probably run in and out, little pesky little things. And yeah, this is where the footprints lead, and you sort of lose them as there's a sort of a clear space where the footprints don't pick up on the rock.
Can we tell like what general direction they were heading in, and see if we could continue that way and pick them back up?
So the rock area that you're in now, just sort of, it's like a dead end, but there's like all these little holes and stuff that that poke out. As you guys do that, you hear someone shout out, like this sort of high-pitched voice say,
Yes, my subjects, revenge for what she has done to Drackle. Kill one of their friends, because she killed one of ours.
and you see these 3 gnomes sprint out of these holes, and with these tiny little spears, charge out, and they're all going,
For Zucknut.
and then 2 others come out of this other hole as they sort of have you, not surrounded, they're in front of you, but they run out. What would you guys like to do?
I turn to the rest of the party. I'm like, diplomacy or violence?
Oh no, we're being gnomed!
Being gnomed.
Violence. Kill them. Take their arms.
I knowing
They
that
can't
we're
be saved.
leading towards violence, I'm like, the one who killed one of your friends is no friend of ours. If you help us find her, we'll be more than glad to help you end her. Persuasion?
Give me a persuasion roll. As these 5 gnomes sprint towards you. And these are deep gnomes, so their skin is mostly gray with like white hair and beards, and they're all wearing like various versions of basically like raggedy bags as clothes.
7.
Some of them don't even have clothes, their willies are just hanging out.
17.
Nice
17. So, 2 of these gnomes that came out of one of the holes are like these older looking ones, with one of them's got like long hair but nothing on top. The other one's got this sort of handlebar mustache, and they both stop and they're like,
Oh, wait, the tall ones speak true.
and the other ones like stop running around. They look younger as they're holding these spears. They're like,
I want to poke.
and they stop for a moment. They look at you squinting.
What do you wish to say, tall ones?
The elephant lady.
Oh,
And they all shudder like, oh, no, Draco, no! And they're like running around. One of them stops and goes,
yes, she was very violent.
She stole something that belonged to us. The child she was carrying belonged to us, and she stole it. And we wish for it to be returned to us, and in return, if you help us find her, we will help you kill her for revenge of your dead friend.
One of the gnomes snaps, and all the other ones stop running around. And then he walks up to one of their ears and whispers in their ear. Then that one runs off somewhere back behind a rock into another hole. And the other one you were talking to goes,
We will leave your request with Lord Sucknut, and he will make his final decision on whether or not we will gut one of you for revenge.
and he just sits down.
God, I hate CPS.
These gnomes just stare at you, pointing out these small spears the size of like 2 toothpicks connected to each other.
So you're essentially, we could quite easily
Yeah, I mean, these aren't like strong enemies. They just look like natives of the planet that live in this area.
I turn to my friends. I'm like, if we can get their help, they know this terrain and this planet much better than us. They can probably quite easily help us find your guard and our mislaid child. So I say, we use their help to find her, and if we have to kill her in the process, so be it. If that doesn't bother you, Cog.
I'd like to steer away from killing a follower of the one true God, but if need be, I will be the one to do it.
Okay. I say we see how this goes. I mean, hopefully they will be able to guide us to her quicker than we would have been able to find her. Therefore, we might not die of oxygen deprivation.
The gnome sitting on the ground sits up and goes,
Ah, yes, you speak true, tall ones. Good. We shall find this elephant woman, and we shall have our revenge on her instead.
and as he says that, out from one of the sort of this hole looks a bit bigger, maybe a small cave that like a child could crawl into. Another one of these gnomes comes out, and then 2 more follow. As you see, the handlebar mustache gnome and a gnome that has like slick back white hair, a long white beard, and he wears these like purple robes that are clearly just like an old sack that's been painted purple, and he's got a crown made out of like ore, like golden ore, and he walks out Ulrigo like,
Yes, Lord Zugnut, I am. What is it that these tall ones speak of, my subjects? You speak of a trade of information. You seem smarter than the other tall folk, I say that. She just came in swinging her weapons around and screaming, demanding to know where the exit was. I was very upset. We almost sent the large gnome after her, but she got away, not before slaying our poor Drockle.
and they all just go, Drockle, no!
Oh no, she almost got super gnomed.
They all start crying as they think of their old friend.
Your Majesty, the most illustrious gnome of the mountain.
Yes, yes, I am Lord Zugnut. You may bow if you wish, though I know that the custom is not for you tall folks always.
This.
I take a knee.
This tall one.
Yeah, he very gracefully nods and says,
Yes, yes, you understand manners, my boy.
This tall one that rampaged through your home
Yes, yes.
stole something precious to us. The child she was carrying
Oh,
belongs to us, and she kidnapped him, or her.
I saw no child, my friend. I saw two large beasts that wished to attack us. One of them ran off further into the cave, and then the large elephant screamed out, exclaimed in danger, and ran off after it. If it were not for the second one running away, we would have all died, surely.
So we're after the second one, which I presume is smaller than the first one.
Yes, yes, a very scary beast. I had never seen anything like it. I assume it comes from one of your tall man worlds.
Yes.
Very, very gross, very disgusting. I did not like the look of it.
So our proposal is, in exchange for you helping us find both of them, we will help you silence the one that killed your friend.
I hear your words, and I understand them, but I have a different offer. You seek the ugly one, yes?
The smaller of the two, yes.
We will tell you in what direction he went, but you must promise us something. There was another.
and he looks towards Reinhardt and says,
One of those. She had a friend similar to the Goliaths of our world. And this friend kept yelling, so much yelling all the time with you tall folk. She kept yelling about, this is my place now. I'm kicking you out of your ancestral home. You must find somewhere else to live. And I got very upset about this. So we tried to fight her back, and she ended up kidnapping all of our female gnomes and completely taking over our home.
and as he says that, all the other gnomes start crying again.
Fuck yo, that's sus.
Do you wish for us to rescue your females and defeat this colonizer?
Yes, the Goliath, she speaks words of old and has these mystical energies I do not understand. We gnomes, we are a simple people. We wish to just live out our lives in these caves, and die in these caves, and give birth in these caves, and poop in these caves, and eat in these caves. Sometimes we'll even sleep in these caves.
Only sometimes.
We don't get a lot of sleep around here with all the tall folk screaming, coming to our planet, wanting to know of the secrets. There are no secrets here, there are rocks. Rocks, and occasionally, a giant fucking worm that will come out of the ground and eat your entire family. You know how scary it is to be traveling about with your entire family and suddenly wormed, all of them wormed.
Can I see these poop caves?
all the gnomes go, yes.
The worms will get you.
You wish to see the poop cave?
No. We're good on the poop cave. We will help you deal with your colonizer, rescue your females, and in return you will help us find the short
Puts his hand out to get the cat to stop talking.
I will show you, my friend, the poop cave.
And he nods his head and all of the gnomes begin walking back towards somewhere.
But first,
And he looks back around.
we must enter through the large manhole. Or you will, I will not. This place is disgusting. Come on, everyone now. This is the way towards destiny, my friends.
And the gnomes start skipping away.
I
Skip along after him.
I turn towards the remaining two, and I'm like, I guess this is our best option for now.
I'm just waiting for one of these fucking scenarios to happen, and Devon just breaks and just tries to kill every NPC.
Oh yes, the poop cave. Come on.
My energy is too low for that right now, so that'll have to wait till next session.
Perfect. Alright, so do you guys follow along to the poop cave?
Oh, yes, I guess. But while we're walking, I'm actively looking to see if I can see any of elephant tracks chasing after a smaller dragon-like tracks.
Sure. Give me an investigation check as you move along
7.
these gnomes. and they're all singing this song like, "Oh, come along, poop cave, here we go." And okay, so with the 7, this area is, like he said, most likely wherever she went was inside the cave, and further into the mountain. Because he mentioned that the ugly creature, which you assume is the Dragonborn, ran off somewhere, so she probably followed and pursued into the cave. Yeah, so they lead you off sort of farther along the mountain edge to a larger entrance. You go, and the gnome goes,
Yes, this is where the large gnome, where we originally found him, he was hiding out inside of our poop cave. If you wish to enter this way, that is the only way in for you tall folk. However, we will not go in there. That place is absolutely disgusting. We do have some idea of how gross poop is.
Of course.
and they begin to scurry into other holes and climb back into their cave.
So the big person entrance is the poop cave.
Yes, you guys can smell it now. You can see this large pool of just sort of almost black shit just stewing inside that leads further into the cave. And you can now sort of see an opening on the other side that leads into a well-lit, smaller cave.
I avoid the poop cave. Like, I don't avoid it. I, like, skirt around it as much as possible and go into the more well-lit.
Alright, you skirt around the edge and head into the smaller cave. What are the rest of you doing? I already know what Andrew's doing. Andrew fucking dives in Olympic swimmer style.
I'm gonna try to follow Erebus.
Alright, if you guys don't want to enter the pool, that is fine. You may skirt around. But it definitely smells awful. Like, this is just like thousands of years of gnome shit piled into this pool. And there's like an opening at the top, like a sort of like a waterfall coming down that you can tell that this is not as far as it goes. There's way more somewhere else.
There's way more poop shit.
Yeah, Andrew, do you want Cock to dive into the pool?
Yes, I'll dive into the pool of poop.
Do you hold your breath with your 1 hour of hold breath?
Yep.
Alright, you hold your breath and you dive in, and you're swimming around, and it's amazing. It feels good. If it wasn't for the smell, it actually does feel quite nice on your turtle shell and all that, on your scales. And then, as you're swimming around, you, like, bump into something under the pool, and then something, like, grabs you and, like, feels around on you, and then, like, drags you up towards the surface. And as this happens, the rest of you guys see Cock get, like, pulled up towards where the opening comes into the cave, and he's, like, covered in this shit now. And next to him, you see a large Goliath man, and he pulls it up, and he says, "Lord Zugnut, I have found an intruder!" And all the gnomes are like, "Ha ha, you fucking idiot!" And they're all, like, looking at him, pointing and laughing, and then Lord Zugnut says,
No, put him down. That is one of our guests. Oh, you absolute fool. Sorry, my friends. This is the large gnome we were speaking of.
and he's like, "Oh, my apologies, Lord Zugnut," and he lets go of you, and then just slowly flows back down into the poo in shame.
Yes, we found him here probably about a year ago, and he's just stuck around. He doesn't even know he's a Goliath. It's crazy. He thinks he's one of us, the fucking idiot.
And they all laugh.
He is living in poo, so...
Yes, well. You know what they say, live as the poo do, or whatever, I don't know.
I don't think anyone says that, and I don't think...
The only one who said it is me just now.
I remember saying that the other day.
Oh, I guess I'm wrong.
Yes, well, shall we take you to our camp, where we just discuss the terms of our deal?
Fantastic.
Yes.
All right.
I'm frantically, like, throwing handfuls of shit into this blanket.
Okay, cool. You do that. Some of the gnomes stare at you and are just like, "Oh no, I hope he knows he's not a gnome." And Yeah, you guys walk over. There's like a deeper area into the cave where they've set up like a little fireplace. Although it's very small, there's just tiny little sparks coming off of it. And then there's like tiny little bedrolls that for you are like, your leg would rest on it. And there's a throne at the back that's been made out of like little like utensils, like forks that have been rusted, and like knives, and like a plate for where he sits. And Lord Zugnut runs up, sits on it, and goes,
Yes, well, on with our deal-making then. I wish for you to defeat this, what we believe to be a witch in the heart of our ancestral home. And if you defeat her and return this place to us, the native gnomes, we will allow you to take whatever you find, or whatever sort of items of mystery that she has on her. You may have whatever you like. However, we wish to, have our home back. And if you find our female companions, yes, of course, free them. But honestly, I'm not that bothered about that.
and then one of the other gnomes is like, my wife isn't there. It's like, shut up!
And if we free, you're told from this unlawful conquest, you will help us find our rogue companion and their kidnapper within your halls.
We assume that perhaps she was sent by the witch to take us out. But if she was not, then surely, heading further into the cave, she will meet much treachery. They are well defended in our old home. You see, she has the ability to bring things, living creatures, back to life.
Necromancer.
We were attacked on our trip back to this cave not but a night ago by one of her large zombie wolves.
Ooh, a Necromancer.
Yes. Oh, is that what you call them? A necromancer? Nice.
Necromancer, yes.
Nico.
We will take it upon ourselves to rid you of this vile magic plaguing your castle.
He looks towards the entire group, sort of assessing the
strange party before him, and he looks directly at Devon and he says, "You should be careful, outsider. I've seen others of your race, and they are not well liked on this planet. Just be aware of that when you travel across the wastes. You seem fine to me. All you tall folk are the same anyway. You get real loud, and you get real quiet sometimes, and then you get loud again, and then you wake us up, and then when we're trying to have our poop session, you get even louder. I don't know what it is about the poop session that gets you all so goddamn excited."
And he sort of like gets hot again, and then one of the gnomes come over and start fanning him off.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Fucking hell.
One more thing. As all of us are far too not expendable to go into the further into the cave, I will suggest that you take along our unwanted guest with you, and he may help you, for he may not have much wit, but he is quite strong in the muscular area.
And he points at both of your arms.
Yes, that area. What do you call those?
Arms?
Ah, yes, your strange common tongue is so gross to me.
So you wish for us to take your poop dweller with us?
Ultimately, it is your choice, but quite frankly, I'm getting tired of him constantly coming up to me and being like, "Oh, let me help, my lord." And I'm like, "No, you're breaking all of our goddamn chandeliers. Get out of here."
You smell like poo.
You smell like poo, and I'm the size of your thigh, you idiot.
I turn to my companions. I'm like, "Do you wish to take the poo warrior with us?"
Is it useful? Then yes.
Okay.
I walk over to the poop pit, and I say, "Poop man."
You say, "Poop man, clap," and nothing happens. And the sort of leader of the gnomes goes,
Oh, yes, give him the thing.
and one of the other gnomes scrambles over towards Yukok and pulls out this like large to them, small to you horn, And he's like,
Well, just blow into this.
and he hands it to you. You blow into the horn, and as you do, you sort of blow and you hear, and you suddenly get like the taste of poop on your mouth, and all the gnomes go, they start laughing, and they're like, the king gnome is like,
Oh, that was a good one.
and then suddenly the large gnome rises out and goes,
Lord Zugnut, you are finally called. I promise I will be useful to you, my lord.
And he's like, oh, yes, we're sending you on a great mission.
and the Lord Zugnut walks over now, and he's standing next to the edge, and he's like,
You, my friend, are going to help our companions here and defeat the witch at the heart of our ancestral home and provide us with our home once again. Do you agree to this?
and he's like,
Lord Zugnut, I would be an honor, but you wish for me to leave.
and the Lord Zugnut's like,
Yes, but you will all come back. You will all survive. Surely, there's nothing in there that the five of you cannot handle.
and the large gnome is like,
If this is what you wish, my lord, I will do it.
Oh, good. Yes, get out of here quickly. I mean, do your mission as slowly as you'd like. Just take your time. Make sure that everything's figured out before you come back. Yes?
he looks to the rest of the party.
Yes, of course. Yes, good.
Do you have any poop sacks?
As you say that, the large gnome pulls out a sack, and he's like,
Here you go, my friend. I have been collecting it as well.
Ah, fantastic.
and he climbs out, and now you see this like 7'2" gray-skinned Goliath, completely naked with these white tattoos all over his body, poop smearings on his arms, and like all over. Besides, like he's like cleared off the eyes now, so he can see. And he's like,
I will do as you wish, my lord. And
Lord Zugnut's like,
Oh my god! Oh, yes, of course. Please put some pants on. Oh god.
as this large Goliath dingle-dong just swings freely.
Hey, nice
That's
cock.
long.
I think he'll fit in great here.
He nods.
I hope I can make my lord proud.
Lord Zugnut's like,
Yes, of course. Just now, quickly show them the way back towards the witch, please. Get out of here.
and the large gnome just starts walking. And like there's like 2 candle lit chandeliers he just slams his head into as he walks, and they fall on the ground. One lands on one of the gnomes. He's like, no!
Sneak, look out!
It's like Armageddon to these little gnomes. It's like this chaos happens, and he just walks, and he starts walking down a hallway, and you just hear like, follow me.
I make sure not to step any of the poop puddles he leaves behind.
Yep.
I know if I do.
And you guys all begin heading down behind you. You just hear,
Oh no! The throat is on fire! Quickly, put it out!
as they panic behind you. And yeah, you guys begin heading further down. The path is just like a really stone pathway. A really stone pathway. Good job, DM. It's just like carved out of the cave that these gnomes have created to get back to where they live. And it's just big enough to fit you guys. The large gnome literally is like crawling on his hands and knees now as he goes through this place. And it seems to like swirl around. So like it goes down for a bit and then swirls back around, back up towards a now you see like a carving out area where these stone double doors now are. You are pretty sure that the area up ahead is clear. You see 2 skeletons just lying on the ground, dismantled. As you exit out of the smaller tunnel and the large gnome stands up, he looks around, the rest of you exit out. You guys can now sort of unhinge your neck from the gnome-sized hole. On either side of this room, there's like this area is a bit like grassy. Like there's tiny little spouts of grass in areas, but blue, sort of dark blue grass that would be on Zolkor Prime. On either side of the sort of small room you're in, there is on the left side, there is a statue of a Goliath, and he is like clearly crying and like putting his hands over his face in shame. And on the right side, there is a statue of a gnome, and he's got his arms out on either side of his body, and he's standing there like Superman, all proud. And the large gnome just points at the door and is like,
Door.
That is where the witch is.
This is the entrance to our ancestral home. Me and my other gnomes.
I also point at the door and say door.
he points at it and says, door.
Knock, knock.
He points at the door and says, knock, knock.
Knock, knock. Open up the door.
Do we wish to head through and like stealth this? Do we want to like just burst through the door?
The large gnome looks at you, Erebus, and says,
I am the best stealth one here. I will go first.
Act. Okay.
He stops, he looks at you.
I am a small gnome. I will just head inside. They will not hear me coming.
I am also the same color as like darkness, so I also blend in very well in any place.
He
where it's
nods.
dark.
He nods and says,
If that is what you wish, I simply want to make Lord Zugnut proud.
he puts his hands in the air, and as he does that, he like cracks his knuckles on like the ceiling, and then pulls his hands down.
Ow.
I guess I like stealthily make my way through the door.
All right, roll me a stealth check as you push open the door.
21.
All right, you slide open the door very quietly, knowing how to do the maneuver just right. And inside you see sort of like this long, almost like a place, like a dance hall, but on the floor, there's like a checkered board tiling, like large checkered board tiling.
It's a disco floor.
Basically, but on the ground, like where there would be like a black one and a white one, instead there's one with the face of a gnome and it's smiling and giving a thumbs up. And then there's one with the face of a Goliath and it's like got his finger in its nose, like picking its nose. And then on the other side, because of your dark vision, you can see two levers on the very end of the disco ball floor corridor. And then on either side from the entrance that you just walked through, on the left side there's a door, on the right side there's a door. But there's no enemies in here.
I gesture everyone to come in.
All right, the large gnome immediately walks in and goes,
You are very good at stealth, my friend.
so we will end with the large gnome saying, basically just like,
We must continue further into the dungeon.
and then we zoom out and the credits roll. To be continued. I'm also very tired.
Yeah, you and me both.
The dungeon!
They could say there might be a dragon in here. Ooh. No, he doesn't say that.